Every January, millions of people sit down and ask the same question. What should I do this year? New goals, new habits, new plans, but the uncomfortable truth of the matter is that question skips the one thing that decides whether any of those plans will actually happen. Most people don't fail because they picked the wrong goals. They fail because they never asked the right question in the first place. Hey, welcome or welcome back to 7 Steps to Smile. Today we're going to be talking about reframing our thinking away from outcomes and towards identity-proof behaviors. Instead of asking, what should I do this year? We'll explore a better question. What kind of person could I prove I'm becoming this year in some small, repeatable way? If you're listening, you will learn why outcome-based planning backfires, how identity drives behavior, and how you can build a year, this year, around evidence and not motivation. So, what am I talking about? Why does this matter? The thing is that goals aren't everything. Goals are abstract. They're outside of you. And that's the point. We want to achieve something. We want to get something that we don't already have. We're imagining this goal. And it's amazing to have goals. It's a good way to direct yourself towards something. That's what goals are. It's direction. But identity is personal. Your identity is who you are or who you believe you are on a day-to-day basis. And that drives your thinking, your beliefs, your actions, and changing your identity, aligning them with your goals is what helps you achieve them. Your brain resists this abstract demand of, I need to lose this amount of weight, or I need to make this amount of money, or I need to get my grades up by this percentage, but it responds to you being consistent within yourself, day after day. In January, we feel like the year's starting and it's the season of renewal and we need to grow, and that is great, but it also puts a lot of pressure on us, this outcome pressure, and people get overloaded. We overload ourselves with the pressure of losing 10 kilos or gaining 10% in our aggregate, or maybe earning 10,000 Rand extra in our salary. This pressure then triggers avoidance, perfectionism, and a fear of starting, not because it's too scary or it feels too far away, but because we don't believe that we deserve it. We don't believe that we are the people who can do those things. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of the identity you believe you deserve. Now that we understand what the problem is a little bit more, I'm going to start explaining why what should I do is the wrong question. You see, whenever we ask ourselves a question, more often than not, we will give ourselves an answer. And the problem is that answer might not be reliable and it might not be entirely correct. We're subject to all these biases and heuristics that I've started speaking about, but the problem with the question, what should I do, is that it assumes that we're clear about everything that we should do. It assumes that we have all the information to make that decision. It assumes that we're motivated enough to do the things that we think we should do. And that's not always true. I mean, for me, I know I'm not motivated most of the time. Most of the time, I do things that I feel like I need to do, even though I don't really want to do them. Because if I did what I wanted to do all the time, nothing would ever get done. The question also assumes that we are capable right now in this moment to do what we think we need to do. And that's also not true. Sometimes we need to build space, we need to build capacity so that we can carry the things that we want. especially after a big, busy time period, a big, busy holiday season. That comes with depleted mental bandwidth. You can go back to one of my other episodes, and I think it was the last one actually, and you can listen to what depleted bandwidth does to your decision making. Unfinished emotional loops also is very difficult for you to become clear in what it is that you need to do when you're still stuck in the past. And the beginning of the year, beginning of anything really, comes with unrealistic optimism when we haven't seen enough to decide what is good enough. So these goals become fantasies, not something that we can execute, not something that we can do and plan for realistically. But identity drives behavior. It's not the other way around. Behavior is not an expression of who you are. You are not what you do. When behavior contradicts identity, behavior loses. For example, if you believe I am not disciplined, every plan that you make feels heavy. Everything that you do feels like it's not going to stick. You're not going to keep it up. But if you believe I am somebody who shows up imperfectly, then every action you make becomes easier. Because regardless of how well you do it, you will show up. You will believe I show up. I'm the person who always shows up, even if I don't get it right. Even if I'm only showing up to 1% or 0.5% or 0.00001%, I'm still showing up. And that's the key. Identity proof behavior. Your identity changes through evidence. It's not about intention. Intention doesn't matter in the system. It's these tiny actions that prove to you, it shows you evidence that you're not the type of person that you once thought you were. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're not insufficient. Once these evidence starts to build up, you have a slight identity shift, which leads to more action and more evidence, and a bigger identity shift. And it all compounds and compounds and compounds. And that is why one workout matters more than a gym membership that you get in the hopes of working out. And one honest conversation matters more than a self-help book that you read to change your life. When the things that can change your life are all around you in the people that care about you. One focused study session matters more than a perfectly color-coded schedule that doesn't get looked at. I'm not saying this to shame you or make you feel bad about yourself, because I do those things too. I mean, I used to be the person who set resolutions about new routines and early mornings and having the perfect habits, but then I missed a day. And that became proof of my old identity. My mind started with the dialogue of, see, I never stick to things. I'm not the type of person, I'm not this person that I'm pretending to be. And then I quit. Not because of the miss, but because of the meaning that I gave to missing. You can contrast that with somebody who starts the year with that one small identity proof behavior that even if they don't feel motivated, they act anyway. If I believe that I'm the type of person that always shows up for myself, over time, self-trust builds. And let me share this with you. Something that I did recently is I set an alarm on my phone. Every day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the alarm goes off and the words on the screen read, I always show up for myself. And that is something that I will see every day at 3 o'clock when I turn that alarm off. I want to start building this identity behavior that, okay, I am somebody that shows up for myself. I can trust myself to do what I say I will do for me. So what do we do? Instead of asking, what should I do this year? What is the better question? Why don't we ask, what kind of person could I prove I'm becoming with one small repeatable action? So thankfully, I found a practical framework that will help you better ask the right questions and put you on a better path instead of just being goal orientated. Something that you can do today to start getting closer to those goals. So it's a simple 3-step framework. Step 1, choose an identity, not a goal. If your goal is to finish what you start more often, you could choose the identity of somebody who finishes what they start. You could choose the identity of somebody who treats their body with respect, someone who follows through, someone who can calmly handle stress. Step 2, define identity-proof behaviors. These are small, specific, and they're low friction. What does that mean? That means that they're easy to do, they are specific and you know exactly what they are, and they don't cause a lot of debate in your head whether you should do them or not, or whether you have the energy to do them or not. They're small, repeatable, specific, low friction things, and that's one thing that I missed out. They're repeatable. You can do them every single day or every single week. You can do them again and again and again. Some examples of this are 5 minutes of planning. If you do 5 minutes of planning at the end of every day for the day ahead, you start building this identity of I am organized. One honest message. If every week you tell yourself, I'm going to send my best friend or the closest person to me in my circle one honest message about how my week has been, how my day has been, what's been going on with me, you start building the identity of somebody who can communicate clearly. Or maybe just opening your notes daily. Maybe not studying. Maybe the first step is, if you're somebody who struggles with studying, somebody who struggles with sitting down and opening their books and just getting started, just opening your notes every day. You start building this identity of somebody who shows up. And it might sound stupid because you don't learn anything by just opening your notes, right? You actually have to study. But once you sit down and you just open your notes, you realize that you might as well read them. And if you're reading them, you realize you might as well understand them. And before you know it, you just tricked yourself into studying, really. So that's step 2. Step 2 is define those identity-proof behaviors. Now step 3, track evidence, not streaks. I'm not a big fan of streaks. I go to a gym where they track your weekly streaks and they give you prizes based on those streaks. Now, I've been working out for almost 2 years now, and I don't think I have, I know I don't have a 1-week streak. But streaks break identities, because if you believe in those streaks, you start feeling like, oh, I missed out, so I'm not this person. I missed out 1 day, I missed out 1 week, I'm not this person. So I don't have to keep doing these things, or I shouldn't keep doing these things. But evidence, on the other hand, builds identities. Instead of tracking how many days you've been doing something for, how many weeks you've kept up, you've kept consistent, track the actions that you've taken. Track how many times you've showed up and not been perfect. Track the compounded evidence, the compounded results that have come from your consistent actions. And you'll start to see that even if you don't show up 100% every single day, as long as you show up, you're actually moving forward. So I have a few experiments, 3 experiments for you today. These experiments are practical things that you can do today along with this framework that will help you better ask the right questions and help you better put yourself on the track of achieving your goals through reframing your identity. The first experiment I'm going to call the identity rewrite. Finish this sentence. This year, I'm practicing becoming the kind of person who what? That is one sentence that you can think about and finish. What kind of person are you going to become? Are you going to become the kind of person who exercises more? Are you going to become the kind of person who prioritizes their health, their family, who becomes financially responsible, the kind of person who is willing to accept love? And once you finish your sentence, choose one tiny behavior that proves it. One tiny, small, specific, low friction, repeatable behavior that proves the statement that you're trying to prove about yourself. And then get started. The second experiment is the 7-day evidence test. For the next 7 days, ignore outcomes. Forget about results. Forget about what you're getting out. Only track the identity proof actions. Only track the actions that you're taking. The small, repeatable actions, the one tiny behaviors that you're taking to change the way you see yourself. And at the end of this week, ask, how did my self-perception shift? Reflect on that. How did my self-perception shift after this week of tracking my actions? And the third experiment is either a public or a private declaration. Write down this identity somewhere visible, or tell a trusted person. This identity solidifies when it's named, because now that you've put it out there, you feel like there's something that you need to live up to. It's a sort of positive pressure, if I can put it that way. And before we get started with rewriting new identities or rewriting these old identities into new identities, there's a few things that we need to ask ourselves, and there's a few things that we need to be honest with ourselves about. First, what identities am I carrying forward without questioning? Now, this might be a difficult one because you need to sit with yourself for a while. But what identities are you carrying forward without really questioning or thinking about? 2, what identity would make most of my goals easier? 3, what tiny behavior could I repeat, even on bad days? And 4, if I stopped trying to impress myself, what would I actually do? This year does not have to be a dramatic plan. It needs small proof. Every tiny action is a vote for who you're becoming. So stop asking what you should do this year. Start asking who you're willing to become, one small step at a time. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.